down I-65 now to visit our friends in Indiana. Dave Lockhart recently caught up with the legendary Pete Dye, who has created a new masterpiece which rises above all in Hoosierland.
It's quite an adventure out there. Kind of describe what it is out there that sets this course apart from some of your other projects.
Well, I really standing here, you can see the ambience of the surrounding area around this golf course. I've never had anything like this. And then from the golf course point of view, you probably didn't realize that I've narrowed the fairways more than I've ever had in my life on a golf course. The fairways are about 85 feet wide, which is fairly narrow, and it's almost like when they have for a championship. But the new type of grass in the rough is called turf-type fescue. And they're trying to keep it cut down so it's easier to play out of the rough than it is out of the fairway. So that makes everything upside down.
Well, it is interesting out there with the topography and the bunkering. How do you know, I'm going to put this bunker here, I'm going to put 7 bunkers on the left of the green here, I'm going to have a fall off over here, I'm going to have a chipping area. How do you decide where this all goes?
Well, a lot of people ask me that, and I really can't even answer because I don't know. But like I remember I think if you remember the third hole, the long par 5 out here, and there's no bunkers around the green, and somebody said, well, why don't you put some bunkers around that green? And I said, well, don't you think I got enough bunkers on the rest of these golf holes? Going to leave one of them alone. But actually, when you don't put a bunker around the green, from a strategy point of view, it makes it harder because a good player, if you put a bunker, that gives them something to gear in on and to see, and it makes it easier for a good player if you bunker it. So leaving an area like that on 3 without a bunker, why, maybe the Joe Q public might like it, thinks, well, there's no bunkers up there, but it makes it harder for the golf professional.
Right. Oh, what I was also impressed with is that you're still out there walking and carrying your bag when you play. How old are you, and is that the only way to play the game of golf?
I'll be half 166 in December, so you figure that out. But I still love to walk, and I've been here on this golf course, and I've actually done the building of it, so I've been here many, many days, and when it was mud and walking up and down these hills has been a pretty good deal. But I love to walk, and when I play at Crooked Stick, we still walk there, so I might as well say it. I just hate carts.
I hear you. I know it slows the game down, doesn't it?
It's fun to walk, and if you're going to play golf, I've always walked, so I just feel like it's part of the game.
Speaking of Crooked Stick, we're planning on going up there to play. What is it about that course that's different and special to you, other than it's right in your own backyard?
Well, that's the first golf course I ever built of any consequence. It was in Indianapolis, and I raised the money to build it and optioned the land and did that. Alice, my bride, we put it all together, and then we raised the money from people in town and went out and built 18 holes, and it's turned out good. It's a nice golf. It's a good golf course.
Up the road a piece in the quaint town of Carmel is Robert Trent Jones Jr.'s Prairie View. This Hamilton County gem sits on a terrific and serene parcel of Midwest soil. It stands as the #1 course in Indiana according to Golf Week magazine's Places That You Can Play. And when you're done tackling this treasure, soar over to one of the greatest spectacles in all of sports. You like golf? You like racing? Well, then you got to come down here to Indianapolis, Indiana, and see Pete Dye's great creation, the Brickyard Crossing. There's actually 4 holes right inside the infield. Not only is this Pete Dye layout a gas to play, but it is also impeccably manicured. The Champions Tour enjoyed a nice run here too, making Brickyard Crossing a regular stop from 1994 to 2000.
I think the most famous one that everybody's seen, at least on TV a lot, is TPC Sawgrass, and Dye and the extensive use of the railroad ties, around the bunkers and some of the water hazards, and you do see quite a bit of that out here. Is it with the third hole we played today, where a bunker completely surrounded by those railroad ties, and a couple of the tee shots, I think on 7 and maybe 11, where the water all the way up the left side is reminiscent of 18 at Sawgrass, and so you do see some similar design characteristics that you might have seen on TV at some of his more famous courses.
Hey, who knew Indiana had all this wonderful golf? I think we've just found the winner's circle.
Budding architect Tiger Woods has a great deal of respect for the immortal Pete Dye. He said, "We've talked for many hours, and his opinion has been invaluable."